Good morning, and welcome to the Monday Morning Minute. I've thought long and hard about this, and I decided to talk to you today about enough is enough. This is two words that should never be radicalized by either the Republicans or the Democrats. What we're going to talk about today is what's going on in society and how it's affecting us. Before I start, though, I want to get something very clear to you. I am a gun owner. I do have a concealed carry permit, so I am not what you would call a radical liberal. But I've also been a blessed educator for 43 years. Why do I say blessed? Because 3 times during that time period, I was faced with being in situations where there was a weapon involved. One of them, I was in an auditorium full of students, and we had a balcony up above. There was a lot of activity up on the balcony to the southwest of where I was standing in the back of the auditorium. And I noticed Wayne Shannon, who was the father of T.W. Shannon, step forward and grab a young man with his arm up in the air. 2 other teachers immediately jumped in to help Wayne. They fought the young man all the way down the balcony to the stairway, and I was standing at the bottom. As they came down, Wayne had his finger between the housing and the gun and the trigger. If it hadn't been for that, anybody in that auditorium could have been shot. I could have been shot on the way down. The other time, I had been notified by students, and believe me, they'll tell a counselor anything, that there was a student that had a gun at school. I went to the classroom to see the young man, and as I approached there, the teacher answered the door, and I asked to see him. And I looked in the door next to me, and there was a coach. And I asked him to come over and stand there. And before I could tell him why, the little boy stepped to the door. I said, "I've got to talk to you about," and I noticed his jacket, which was a fleece-lined jacket, was hanging heavy on the left side. I reached out with my the right side. I reached out with my right hand and grasped the barrel. "I need to talk to you about this." I felt in the pocket with my left hand and could not find a way to get to it. I changed the hand that was holding the barrel, and I entered into the fleece lining of the jacket and found midway back where he had slit it and put the gun inside. I pulled it out, and it was a fully loaded .45 caliber Colt. I took him to the office, and when I got back up there, the coach that had been standing there kind of gave me the 3rd degree for why I hadn't told him. I said, "I didn't have time. I didn't think the student had it." There's no telling how fast these things can happen. The 3rd time I was a head administrator, and we had police officers in the building, and we had been told that a young man who we knew had had trouble with before had a gun that he'd been able to sneak into the building. My assistant principal and the police officer went down the hallway to find him, and they left me standing there in the counselor's office with his best friend, who was one of our special students. He was kind of like a big teddy bear. And I started talking to him, and I said, "Gerard, you're in this up to your eyeballs, hon. And the only thing I'm interested in is keeping you in school." He looked at me and said, "Ms. Fountain, is this where I do the right thing?" I said, "Yes, Gerard, this is where you do the right thing." He pulled his shirt up, pulled down the front of his pants, reached in, and pulled out a fully loaded Glock. I was just lucky that he was the kind of student he was. He handed it to me, and I sat down, and my counselor fell into her chair. If the police officer had seen that child down the hallways with the bright glare coming from the outside windows, they would have shot first and asked questions second. What I'm trying to get across to you is it doesn't matter what kind of precautions you take. It can happen in a second. Now, God has told us many times that we need to believe in him. And yes, we do in this time. And as Christians, we need not take sides according to politics. It is time for us to become active Christians and bring about the words in Matthew 5:9. God blesses those who work for peace, for they will be called the children of God. So as we go through these trying times, please try to remember to do the Christian thing for what's good for all children. Thank you for joining me for this Monday morning minute. I wish it could have been more uplifting.